Hey y'all. Okay, we back with another one. So let's get into it because I know a lot of y'all keep asking or wondering the same thing when it comes to like safety and security, healthcare, and nursing abroad compared to like back in the States, right? Or in America, because some of y'all don't know that when we say US, we're referring to America, also quote unquote like the United States, right? So let's talk about why so many nurses in general, especially in America, quit working in a hospital setting or quit healthcare and venture into doing other things. So, for those of you guys that don't know, when it comes to workplace violence of all types in the US, it is 5 times higher in healthcare compared to any other job industry, whether if it's construction. It's even worse than construction, and that pretty much says a lot. And when we say like workplace violence as far as like research or statistics, for example, we're referring to violence of all types. That encompasses physical, verbal, emotional, bullying, intimidation, retaliation, harassment, and even reports of sexual abuse that goes unreported in healthcare settings when it comes to that being a major problem throughout nursing. It's just that whenever a nurse tries to speak out on certain conditions or certain problems, or they voice it to their manager or higher ups and so forth, they 9 times out of 10 get shunned, or they get retaliated against, or they're told to be quiet. And just, so that's why I think a lot of people are just oblivious to that. Also, in general, there's this infamous quote that we like to use in the States that every seasoned nurse and new grad nurse will be introduced to when they start their journey as a new grad RN. And that phrase is, nurses eat their young. Every nurse, I think, in the States is familiar with that quote. And for those of you that are not in America, what that pretty much means is there's a big divide between older nurses and younger nurses. It's not like a unit effort like they portray it to be, or like a teamwork effort per se, to where they make it seem like, oh, we're just here to take care of the patients, blah 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 blah. But it's nothing of that in actuality. It's a matter of like a lot of toxicity, a lot of drama, this person possibly sleeping with that person, this nurse competing with that nurse, this nurse feeling like that nurse is trying to take her spot, or this nurse feeling like this person is better or lesser than them. And it's a lot of big divide between, like I said, like the older nurses and the younger nurses. Again, the older nurses are accustomed to doing things a certain way. As you guys know, when it comes to healthcare or nursing in general, due to like evidence-based practice, certain skills and things that we learn over time, it drastically changes throughout healthcare due to like evidence-based practice, research and stuff that they utilize to pretty much always revamp or change things for the better. But again, a nurse that may be like 50 plus years old, they're used to like doing things a certain way. So when they see newer nurses doing things a newer way that they were taught, which is not their fault, they feel like that younger nurse is, oh, she thinks she's gonna come in here and change things up and blah 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 blah. So it's a lot of like bickering, nonsense, toxicity like that plays a lot of healthcare systems throughout the US. And I'm gonna insert a little bit of a TikTok short that I did recently regarding that as well, right? So recently, I saw this viral story as to why so many nurses are quitting the nursing profession in masses. According to research, in America, nurses or healthcare workers are 5 times more likely to experience workplace violence compared to any other job industry in America, which means it's even worse than that employed on construction sites. By workplace violence, it includes violence of all types. That that includes violence ranging from physical, verbal, emotional, even sexual abuse, bullying, intimidation, harassment, and retaliation. Also, if you're a person of color, I think every nurse has experienced some form of this. There is also aspects of racism that plagues the healthcare system. You have to deal with these aspects of violence, whether if it's ranging from other coworkers, doctors, surgeons, patients, and family members of those said patients as well that don't ever go discussed amongst the public. Amongst those who are nurses, there's this infamous quote that all of us know too well throughout the healthcare industry. That quote is, "Nurses eat their young," which pretty much means there's a lot of bullying and intimidation that pretty much plagues the nursing profession. It's very common in the healthcare setting where there's a big divide between younger age nurses and older age nurses. There's a lot of competition, there's a lot of drama, there's a lot of toxicity. Older nurses are accustomed to doing things a certain type of way. A lot of them also have the mentality of, if I had to have it hard, so do you. Also, unfortunately, you have some nurses that have the mentality of, oh, she thinks she's better. Oh, she's trying to take my spot. So it tends to become a lot of drama and a lot of cliquish behavior that plagues like the hospitals. Give y'all a primary example from when I graduated nursing school dating back to 2018. So again, I'm really, really young, right? I went for my RN at a young age. While doing this, I met a lot of older LPNs that were also going for their RN in my same class. After meeting this group, pretty much we call the old lady gang, one of them in their clique tried to find anything possible just so she could have a problem with me. So while in nursing school, we have clinicals. So one day after leaving clinicals, one of the older LPNs, the older black lady, her shoe broke after we were getting ready to leave clinicals, right? So everyone was joking about it, laughing about it in good faith, including her and even the instructors, right? Well, for some reason, out of everybody else in the group, she had a problem with me simply just joking and joining in and laughing. Mind you, this is something that's simple over her shoe breaking, right? So apparently she went amongst her clique or group of friends or whatever and was talking mad shit and was saying stuff like, oh, she wanted to fight me in a parking lot after clinicals, right? Again, this is something as simple as over a shoe. But in actuality, it ain't have nothing to do with that shoe. She just wanted a problem with me. Long story short, I was kind of like the popular kid while in nursing school. And I already knew midway throughout the semester I was going to be graduating because I passed all my HESI exams. And I also graduated with honors. She would always make little smart remarks and make little comments regarding that too. She, on the other hand, wasn't passing all her HESI exams and was like, oh, well, not everybody that's smart. Not everybody knows how to do them like you do, blah, 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 you know. Mind you, this old-ass lady wanted to fight me in a parking lot despite me actually helping her throughout nursing school and during our clinicals. So her friends in her clique who also like drama ran and told me what she said. But be mindful, this lady didn't put her hands on me and she actually ended up apologizing. Despite her apologizing, I ain't want nothing to do with her after that and I just ended it on that, right? So I knew then, even from when I was in nursing school, before even actually graduating and starting as a nurse, that there was a lot of drama that pretty much plagued the healthcare system. And I saw then why there were major staffing shortages throughout the hospitals. So, again, like I already told most of you guys, my background before I started to travel abroad to enjoy it, my background was mainly travel nursing or nursing back in the States. So not even giving you from like a nurse perspective, I'm going to give you the perspective of me going in as a patient, but also being a nurse unbeknownst to like a health clinic that I visited while I was in Texas staying for a few years, right? I think I told you guys I stayed in Texas for about a few years, I'm sorry, and then Georgia for just 1 year. These are all southern states, right? So just to give you guys an example, I was like really, really sick for like 3-4 days straight while I was living in Texas. I remember it like it was yesterday. So usually in general, I have a high tolerance for pain. And I had a headache that I have never in my life had before for like 3 days straight. And whether if I took a leave or if I took Tylenol, nothing was helping it. And that's never ever in my life has happened before, to the point where, like, just to give you an example of what kind of headache it was, if you guys know, if you like touch a hot stove, how hot it feels, that feeling is how pretty bad, or pretty much my head was pretty much hurting, right? So of course, since I know that's not my normal, I went to see like a quick health clinic. I was in Grapevine, Texas, and there was like this little clinic that's toward Hurst, Texas. That's not too far from where I'm at in Grapevine, right? So again, I have a nurse background. So I go into a clinic for a visit, and he takes blood pressure and all that. And mind you, you guys, my blood pressure also was like 180 as far as my systolic, which is like, that's damn near stroke numbers for those of you who are not healthcare workers, just to let you know, or practically to the point where I'm like, am I having like a brain aneurysm or something? Because again, I never in my life had no headache like that, let alone a headache like that lasted for 3 days straight. So when he's taking the tech up front that was taking my blood pressure, it was like over 180 as far as my systolic. So I was asking, since I already know, since my background's healthcare, I asked like the physician or the nurse who was like going to be, pretty much, I guess, attending to me, hey, can we do a few labs, a few diagnostics, just to rule out that it's not anything pertinent? Because I've never had a headache like this. My blood pressure's never been high. If anything, usually my blood pressure is pretty relatively, usually was always normal or low until I started working in nursing, and then actually it also did jump, but it's never been like 180 as far as my systolic. Usually I run like a low 103 over 60s, which is my baseline. So for it to go to like 180 over like well over 90, that's not my normal at all. So the physician comes in, I asked him regarding like doing any type of, pertinent diagnostics or anything, or any type of, blood samples, just to rule out anything important. And you guys, he was just like, yeah, we're not doing that. We don't need to do that. It was a white guy, a white physician. And you guys, I don't play the race card. I'm just verbatim telling you this experience, exactly what happened during this visit, right? So it's a white physician. And he's pretty much was just dismissing everything I was saying, not realizing also my background was also nursing, right? So despite me like voicing concerns and telling him like, hey, can you just do this or do that to make sure I don't go home and have maybe like a brain aneurysm or a stroke? Because again, my blood pressure has never been that high, and I've never had a headache like that before in my life, let alone it lasts for 3 days straight. So, of course, he refuses to do any type of labs. He refuses to do any type of diagnostic. And you want to know what that motherfucker had the audacity to tell me? He goes, well, black people just have high blood pressure, and left it at that. And said, oh, if it continues to be high, just go get you some blood pressure meds. That's all he said. He didn't do no labs. He didn't do me no referrals or nothing, and sent me home. And practically I could have went home and had a aneurysm that ruptured and died, right? So of course I called the insurance company, because I know that's also a big topic in the States after the unaliving of the United Healthcare CEO as well back in the States. So I filed a claim with the insurance company, right? And they go, yeah, of course, this is ridiculous. I filed a grievance is what it's called. And I had Anthem, Blue Cross Blue Shield as far as like health insurance provider. And I speak to whatever, when you call the 1-800 number, you voice whatever's going on. They like give you the options of what to do. And they tell you, hey, go file a grievance. So that way, they can bring this up to, the insurance people and put that doctor under their radar, I guess. And pretty much I also paid a deductible for 150 USD. So I paid 150 USD, and mind you, they didn't do no labs, no tests or nothing. That dude just saw my blood pressure was high and sent me home and said, well, black people just have high blood pressure, and charge $150. I'm like, you paid 100, I paid 150 for nothing, right? So I filed agreements with the insurance company. They go, oh, of course, we're definitely going to reimburse you, blah, blah, blah. Guess what? Long story short, they gave me the runaround. They didn't reimburse shit. I also called the facility regarding the visit. They would like answer the phone, hang up, transfer me like 30 plus times, and kept saying, oh yeah, we're going to give it back to you. We're going to reimburse you. And they never did. So it's me seeing that, even though I'm a nurse, and seeing that me also in the position as a patient as well, that just says a lot. But let me show y'all the difference when I went to a healthcare clinic here in Rwanda while I'm in Africa at the time, compared to just giving y'all an example of what I experienced back in the States. So I go to a clinic here. They're open to 10 p.m. So I simply just say, hey, tell them what's going on. There was no beating around the bush. Everyone was welcoming. They asked me 3 simple questions, that being just my name, phone, contact information, and my date of birth, and got me seen like this. That's how healthcare should function, not how it pretty much operates back in the States, right? So there was no interrogation of what insurance provider you use, what's this, what's that. They just get you in, get you seen. And most importantly, the labs that they took, they were extremely affordable. Even me paying out of pocket was extremely affordable. So I think alone, you know, a CT alone back in the States, if you're paying out of pocket, can range hundreds or thousands of bucks. Versus if you go to other countries, healthcare is a lot more affordable. So that's just a little bit of feedback for y'all that was also wondering. And also, when it comes to safety in general, so it's not me, of course, you guys, I know you guys will be so concerned and be like, saying be aware of your surroundings. Again, it depends on where you're from. That's where you're also tuning in to watch me. So again, I'm in Rwanda. It's known as one of the safest, cleanest countries all throughout the entire continent of Africa. So that wasn't me just being careless when I was showing you guys me just freely roaming, walking on the streets, whether it's daytime or nighttime. They have police and security personnel posted up everywhere you go throughout the city. Like if I'm walking down the street, there's a police unit here. There's police outside the ATMs, outside restaurants. They're constantly patrolling the areas and stuff to ensure safety. So you can go about your day, whether if it's day or nighttime, and not have to worry about the worst thing happening to you. That's how a society should function when it comes to safety and security. So I thought you guys just should know that. So, and for those of you that haven't gotten the memo yet, I'm not coming back to the U.S. to work in the hospital. Like, if you could just get that out of your head. After what these last people did when I was in Texas and North Carolina, I have no intent to ever in my life move back there or let alone ever work there again as a nurse. So just get that out of your head. And for those of you, again, I forgot some people that tune into me, I'm a very open-minded person. I simply ask questions. I don't judge anybody. I only speak on things that I've experienced or things that I've seen, not based off like an assumption or ignorant bias without me even like seeing whomever it is across the globe, right? So I know a lot of people who haven't experienced any other part of the world and they're kind of just stuck in the mentality of like where they grew up and they're oblivious to everything else outside of them. You tend to be very biased or ignorant or think your 2 cents matter to the rest of the globe, right? So let me just say this regarding people who keep asking me, or the wrong people rather, who keep like wondering or hinting at like ignorant or stupid comments because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So common sense would tell you, if I've managed to travel from country to country, flight to flight, Airbnbs that cost me thousands of dollars, if I've been spending thousands pretty much on going from point A to point B, then clearly, stupid, I'm not broke. Clearly, I have the means to go from point A to point B. I saved well over $100,000 before I even started taking sabbaticals and let alone left the United States. So I think some of you who are willfully ignorant or keep joining forces with these people that are only leading you astray because you're desperate and they know you're dumb and you have nothing to lose. If you don't even have the means to can even afford an Uber or begging me to pay for your food like the last 3 men that I met and feel entitled for me to do so, you need to go check yourself, before you ever make any ignorant remarks about what I'm doing. Lastly, let me also say this, because whatever platform that either Musk or Zuckerberg or whichever one of them damn tech lizard people got y'all watching me from, some of y'all keep taking whatever it is that y'all see me say, do, and think you actually know me personally and regurgitate shit back to me thinking that that's going to give you access to me. When it comes to my mother, don't speak on my mother if I never told you shit about my mother, okay? My mother left this earth peacefully. I'm not looking for nobody to be my mother neither, or let alone anybody who dare think that they could even take my mother's place. So again, I'm saying this because too many of y'all have gotten too comfortable doing this for too long because of this shit that's been going on just for far too long, to the point where you left me no other choice but to start saying something. So again, if you know you don't even have money to buy Uber, don't ask me about no money or no damn work. Because if it was a matter of work, why is your broke ass still asking me to pay for this and pay for that and pay for your food and pay for this if you so concerned about what it is I'm doing? Like, makes sense to think about what you really even saying. But I forgot how some of y'all operate. You get what I'm saying? They could just be real blatantly ignorant. You get what I mean? So just think for yourself for just once in your life. You should try it before you approach me based off some nonsense or ignorance for a group of people that I don't care for at all, that are just mad, bitter, and think I owe them something when I don't even know who this group of people are that's been doing this for so long. So everything I do, everything that I've done, I took a break to where I could just travel and enjoy it for myself, because I've always been put in a position to where I had to take care of everybody else and not myself. So I did this for me, and nobody's going to make me feel guilty about doing it. If I meet and network with the right people along the way, I'm 100% for that. But for the wrong people that are trying to gain access to me by being manipulative and begging and thinking that you're going to pull one over just because you think I'm nice and naive, you're going to be in for a rude awakening. So I'm just going to close. Oh, and I don't give a shit about y'all messing with this travel YouTube content either, thinking that that's going to deter me from traveling or doing whatever it is that I want to do. Okay, so let's just close out the vlog here, and like I said earlier, I will talk to you guys again another time.